The Bulls are wrong about Josh Giddey. Welcome back to No Bias Hoops. Today we're going to be talking about Josh Giddey trade, and it's an interesting situation. Bulls fans hate it, and I'm not sure why. Look, Josh Giddey had some bad off-the-court stuff, and I understand why you'd be mad about that. But as a basketball player, other than the shooting, other than him being dared to shoot and then not being able to shoot, he's a good player. He's a 6'8" point guard, which is pretty insane, who's a really, really good playmaker. I think that got overshadowed this year just because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was almost averaging a triple-double while being an MVP candidate. How are you supposed to be an amazing playmaking point guard on a team when Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the dominant point guard? Chicago gets to bring in this 21-year-old who was a rising star just last year. I mean, for Alex Caruso, who's a 31-year-old role player on a 2-year contract. Alex Caruso is a great player. There were reports of them possibly being offered 3 first-round picks at the deadline, which, if it was true, they should have pulled the trigger because that would have been a much better deal. You're not going to get 3 first-round picks for Josh Giddey. But I'm not horribly mad at it. I think if you ran a lineup where you got Josh Giddey, Kobe White, and then you had maybe Ron Holland or whoever you're able to snag at 11, maybe it's Devin Carter, and then at the 4 you have Patrick Williams. Bulls fans have completely given up on him, and I don't blame them. You pick him 4th overall, and then he just isn't playing well, but the team is pretty clearly going in the rebuild direction. It's the right move. So why would you not sign your 24-year-old power forward that you just drafted 4th overall? If you can find a good trade for him, then do it. But if not, there's Bulls fans are like, just let him walk. That doesn't make any sense. And then at the 5, I honestly don't think they're going to be able to find a Vucevic trade. And I don't mind playing Vucevic, I don't think the Bulls are in the running to get Klingon, and they're not in the running to get Sarr. So unless you get Kel'el Ware or Kyle Filipowski, that's not an amazing center. So why don't you just play Vucevic? Drummond, you should be able to find a trade for. He's on a just about minimum contract. He's a great player. Why did you not trade him at the deadline? DeMar DeRozan's going to walk in free agency or a sign and trade. And I'm glad for him. I think he's going to have a pretty good season with whoever he goes to because he's still a good player. And if I was the Bulls, I would just try to get him on the best contract possible and then sign and trade him to the Brooklyn Nets or to the New Orleans Pelicans, maybe the 76ers. But to be honest, I get why Bulls fans are mad because if the rumors are true, they could have traded Caruso for 3 first-round picks at the deadline. They could have maybe moved DeMar DeRozan to the Thunder instead of them getting Gordon Hayward. And then, it's just they made such not smart moves. Now there's rumors of 15 teams going after Zach LaVine. I don't think there's 15 teams going after Zach LaVine. I think the only team that is actively going after Zach LaVine is the Sacramento Kings. They would send Kevin Huerter, Harrison Barnes, and possibly some second-round picks. LaVine is one of the worst contracts in the league, and with him having his injury history and him just not being able to be a playoff performer, there's just no way you're going to get a first-round pick out of a team that's not lottery protected, So, if I was the Bulls, I would move on. If the Kings offer me Kevin Huerter and Harrison Barnes straight up, maybe some seconds on the deal, that's a deal. Because LaVine is 29. He's not an old player, but he's not a young player. He doesn't fit the timeline. If LaVine's 24 on this contract, might as well keep him around. But he's not. Lonzo Ball, I would swap him for Ben Simmons personally. Ben Simmons also an expiring contract. The Nets get Lonzo, who probably will not be a good basketball player anymore. Maybe, but probably not. And then the Bulls get Ben Simmons, who likely will not do anything. But at least it's not another guard, and you have someone who you could really play at any position. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time on No Bias Hoops.